Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Phiasanaxay, and this session is being facilitated to evidence task 2 of 50S02 of the Level 5 Diploma in Organisational Learning and Development. This session will be recorded, is being recorded, and please leave your videos on if you feel comfortable to do so. And your microphones can be turned on and off as and when you need to talk. Please do feel free to use the functions which allow you to react. So maybe you could just show me that you can do that, and you've seen that by reacting in some way. You choose a reaction you'd like. Lovely, thank you. That's marvelous. Thank you very much. So first of all, as by way of introduction, I'd just like to find out a little bit more about you and let you know a little bit more about me. So my name's Rachel Phiasanaxay, and my job that I do is I'm a learning and development advisor, and my customers are naval personnel who want to develop themselves by crafting a learning pathway. So what I'd like you to do now is to introduce yourselves by telling me what your name is, what your job is, and who your customers are. Who'd like to go first?
Okay. My name's Simon Scott. I work for the First Tier Property Tribunal, which is a government department which deals with disputes over leases, typically between leaseholders. Typically, they're disputes over service charges or anything to do with a lease, or determining appropriate levels of rent, various things like that. And the customers that we would have would be people who are in a dispute of some sort about anything to do with their lease. So it's typically people who live in flats, really.
Thank you, Simon. And whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm based in Chichester in West Sussex. I work in Havant, which is only 10 miles or so. So it's not a particularly long commute for me, thankfully.
Nice part of the world. And how about you?
Right, my name's Hannah, and I'm a scientific project manager for university, and more specifically for an organisation that functions as kind of a network for doctors all over Europe to provide diagnosis and care for patients with rare lung diseases. So yeah, I'm in charge of managing those kinds of big EU-wide projects. So I guess my clients would be mostly doctors and healthcare professionals across Europe, and I'm based in Frankfurt in Germany.
Oh, wow, that's lovely. And what's the weather like in Germany at the moment? Is it as cold as in the UK?
It's not too bad, actually. It's quite mild, and it was quite sunny today, surprisingly.
Oh, how lovely. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. So obviously today's session, we're going to be looking at handling customer complaints and how we can go from a complaint to a solution and customer satisfaction. So I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. If you can please give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can see my screen, that would be amazing. Thank you. I haven't started sharing it yet. Okay. Oh, marvelous. Lots of thumbs up from Simon. Thank you. Okay. And a lovely thumb up from Hannah. Thank you very much. Okay, that's great. So my artwork isn't particularly great, but I didn't want to use an icon that was from the internet, so I drew my own. So we've got a very unhappy customer face there. So from complaints to solutions. So I'll show you the learning objectives for today's session. By the end of this session, hopefully, I think you probably already are able to identify common causes of customer dissatisfaction, but thinking more specifically about your own roles and what kind of causes there are for your customers. Being able to describe the kind of techniques, the ways in which you can deal with those complaints that are both professional but also personal. Apply active listening. So we're going to be looking at using our active listening skills. Like what are our active listening skills and how do we use them to show empathy when we're dealing with a customer? Fourthly, we want to demonstrate effective conflict resolution strategies. So guess what? There's a little bit of role play involved. So you'll actually get to try out handling one of your customer complaints. And finally, you're going to be evaluating your own communication skills and how well you've managed to handle customer complaints. So I'm going to be introducing you to a particular model, which is quite an effective way of dealing with those complaints. But first of all, switch to the next slide. Okay, so you should be able to see on your screen now in front of you a number of different pictures. And I want to ask you a question which you can turn on your microphones on and answer when you feel ready. So the first question is why do you think people complain?
They are not receiving the service that they believe they should be receiving.
Okay, great, good. Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think that they're like dissatisfied or frustrated. Things aren't going the way they thought, or maybe not as fast as they would have expected.
Mm-hmm. Good. And what are I mean, you mentioned the word frustrated there. What are the other feelings that can come with that, prompt people to complain?
Anger as well, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So frustration, anger.
Feeling of kind of injustice, almost like I shouldn't have to be dealing with this and this.
Yeah, absolutely. The feeling that you're wasting someone's time because you're being made to feel in a certain way, and that feeling of injustice, like why is this happening to me? So there's a lot of reasons why people complain, and I think it's an important starting point to think about when we are dealing with someone that's in that frame of mind, or they have a complaint, they're making a complaint, is what's going on for that customer. Like often there can be a whole load of other things going on. It might not be the thing that they're actually complaining about. That might just have been the trigger. But thinking about what is the feeling that's coming across here in this interaction. So I want you to think for a moment about the last time you felt like this and wanted to complain. Either you did complain or maybe you didn't. And if anyone feels comfortable to share that story, that would be really great. The last time you felt that way and you wanted to complain or you did complain.
For me, it was very much when I moved into my new flat about 6 months ago, and one of the main things you do when you move in is you set all your services up. And for me, I needed to set my internet up, and I felt very frustrated because I couldn't get broadband sorted out, which is a basic service, and I believe I actually have a legal right. Everyone has a legal right to broadband, and I think that's the point. Like when I was getting angry, I was thinking, when I'm logging on, I work from home 2 days a week, and when I log on and the internet's dropped and I can't get on, part of me is just getting angry, thinking I shouldn't be in this situation. I shouldn't have to put up with this, and yeah, it's very frustrating. So yeah, that's my story. So it hasn't really been resolved, but I've kind of found a workaround solution, which is the best solution I can get. But
so essentially, they didn't deal with your complaint. They just passed you from pillar to post, wasted your time, and you ended up having to pay out for So that's a really great example, and thank you for sharing that, Simon. Okay, right. So, okay, so I'm going to move on to the next slide now. So I'm going to introduce you to a model that I came across, which comes to you from the customer service collection. It's called the LAST system. And it's a model for handling a customer complaint in a way that leaves them feeling as though, even if you haven't got a complete solution or an answer to give them, that it at least makes them feel as though they've been left with something that's going to be done, or that they know what the next step is in the process. So I've got for you the 4 letters, which are, guess what? L, A, S, and T. Now, obviously, there's only 2 of you in this session, so I would normally put you into breakout rooms. But as was only 2 of you, do you mind just discussing together? I'll just take the headphones out for 3 minutes. I want you to discuss what you think those 4 letters stand for in a model that deals with customer complaints. Okay, so I'm going to put my timer on my phone, 3 minutes, 3 minutes only. You have to discuss with each other what you think those 4 letters might stand for. Okay, any questions?
So it's just to do with what it's called or the sorts of things it's dealing with.
No, it's a 4-step process for dealing with customer complaints. So it's 4 steps in a process. So you imagine you've got your customer standing in front of you, and what 4 things are you going to do to make them feel as though you're dealing with their complaint? Yeah. Okay. Right, your 3 minutes starts now.
I don't know about you, Heather, but I reckon L probably stands for listen.
Sounds like a good idea.
You've got 10 seconds left. Are you happy with your 4 words?
Yeah, I mean, something will be correct, I'm sure.
Yeah. Listen, analyze, speak, tell. I mean,
okay, and your time is up. Lovely, nice little bit of heart playing there. Right, okay. Right, so your first letter, you said listen. Absolutely right, you do. You listen to what the complaint is, and you're not just listening and nodding. What else are you also kind of listening for?
Yeah, are you listening to their tone of voice, their demeanor, sort of?
Yeah. So gauging
how worked up.
Gauging sort of, well, what's the severity of their complaint is, how angry are they, how upset are they, how much empathy you're going to need to show. Like it's that kind of, a lot of things really, reading, not just listening with your ears, but reading their body language and what's going on for them. Excellent. And sometimes I think when we listen, we can just kind of nod along. We're a little bit kind of caught in the headlights because it's like, oh gosh, this is unexpected. Usually complaints are quite unexpected. So yeah, it's about listening actively and actually kind of really engaging with what they're saying. Good. Okay, so what did you come up with? A, analyze, did you say? Okay, I think, yeah, go on, Simon.
Either kind of analyze or ask. I think that was we weren't quite sure. I think that's the general area that we were looking at. Yeah.
Okay, so you've kind of analysed a little bit what's going on whilst you've been listening to. You've been listening to what their complaint is, and you've already been starting to formulate some ideas in your head about how you can try to solve or find a solution for this. But actually, the second step in this model is apologise. So, and why might you apologise next? I know it might sound a little bit kind of like lip service and saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry," you don't really mean it, but why? What do you think an apology might do for a customer who's complaining about something?
Well, I'm guessing a lot of people just want to, in the first instance, be heard and understood. And I guess apologizing already goes a long way in making them feel like someone's actually listening to them and appreciating the situation they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And in doing so, you diffuse a little bit the tension that's been built up and the emotion that's been built up. So yeah, absolutely. So you might go on.
So I was going to say, is there a slight danger in that effectively you're kind of prejudging it because whatever complaint they're making might not be upheld. So you're not necessarily apologising for what they're complaining but are you just apologising in the sense that I'm sorry that you're feeling this way? Or I'm
Absolutely, sorry it's all in the wording, and you're not necessarily taking the blame personally by apologising, by saying I'm really sorry. And what you just said was, I'm really sorry you've been made to feel this way, or that you are feeling like that this has been done to you, as opposed to you saying, I'm really sorry I've let you down. You're not saying that yourself. So yeah, so it's about choosing the right words. We'll be going into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. So yeah, absolutely. So what about the S? I think you said speak. This could be partly to do speaking, yeah. So if we've got listen, apologise, what might the S then be?
We also had summarise, as in sort of repeat to them what, clarifying the issue, I guess, essentially.
Yeah, and actually that could also come as part of the apology, because you could also, as part of your apology, summarize what they've said to you. But actually the S in this model is solution or solve. And I know you said all that should come at the end, but actually there is something else that comes after a solution, and the solution might, like I said before, might not be a final solution. It might be that you don't know the answer, but you're going to go away and find it out, and this is how the person's going to know whether or not you found out the solution. You're going to email them, you're going to give them a call, you give them your name so that they know who you are and they know who to come back to. So coming up with some kind of a solution. And it might be that if you don't know the solution, you might ask them, what would you like? What would you suggest me to, like it might be something, depending on the scenario, that they actually have a solution in mind that they want you to carry out. And it might be that you can't do that because it's not part of your job remit, but that you would go some way to figuring out how that might happen. So solution is the third one. In that vein, what do you think the T stands for?
Maybe thank them.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanking them at the end. Thank you for sharing this apology. Thank you for sharing your complaint. Because again, it's about showing that you want to better your service. You want to give you want to improve. Feedback's always good, right? Okay, so moving on. So the next step in this session is an activity. And I want you to, first of all, just think of a situation where you've had to deal with a customer complaint recently, something that you've dealt with. Maybe you dealt with it well, maybe you didn't. Maybe there's more you could have done. Just want you to think of a recent situation where you've had to deal with a customer complaint. And then I'd like you to watch the video below. This video really goes into a bit more detail and fleshes out the 4 steps of the system. So the listening, the apologizing, the solving, and the thanking. And she actually gives some really nice examples of how you might phrase things as well. And so what I'd like you to do is to watch the video below with your situation in mind of this customer complaint. And I'd like you to, as you're watching the video, write down your script, what you would say. I mean, obviously listening, you're just listening. But how might the apology sound? How might the solution sound? How might the thanking them sound? So that you're thinking about it in your scenario. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back together to role play your scenarios. So Simon will be Hannah's customer, Hannah will be Simon's customer, and you'll get to practice and play out those roles. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes for this, and the video itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it on the screen so you can watch it in real time, but I'm also going to put the link to the video in the chat box, because some of you might want to stop and start and pause while you're writing down your ideas. So the video is only 10 minutes long, but you've got an extra 10 minutes to kind of write down your thoughts. So I shall put the link in the chat box, and then you can open it up in YouTube and watch it in your own time.
I used to work in customer service, and this is actually one of the most important things I learned. And this is called the LAST, or last.
So we're going to, down here. All right, so hopefully the video gave you a little bit more information about how the LAST system works. And who would like to share their customer first to have a go at role playing the scenario?
Maybe I can share.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so yes, a couple of months ago, I had a member from our network, one of the doctors, contact me directly because I'd been in contact with her about something else, and say she was very annoyed and frustrated because the details of her hospital hadn't been updated in our system, and the emails were still going to the wrong person, even though she'd actually mentioned the details had changed 3 years ago. So this was slightly awkward, especially because obviously I hadn't actually been working there 3 years ago. I only just started 6 months prior. So it had absolutely nothing to do with me. And I didn't even know anything about how this would be done or anything like that.
Okay. So Simon, are you happy to play the customer whose details haven't been changed? 3 years ago, you asked for this to happen and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So let's try it out. So Simon, if you'd like to start the complaint off, you can be as, how angry was she, Hannah?
It's hard to say because it was via email.
Oh, okay.
But she did seem pretty annoyed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go with quite annoyed, I would say, Simon. Okay. All right. Okay. Over to you.
Hello, is that Dr. Scott, please?
Yes, speaking. How can I help you?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm phoning up. Got a situation here where I've been in contact with you, I mean, at least 3 years ago. I'm asking to update your hospital details, and it still hasn't been done. And I've had some information that's just not reached me, and it's not reached the right department. And really, it's not good enough. It's basic stuff here. Can you explain to me why, firstly, why this has happened, and can you make sure that my details are updated?
I'm really sorry to hear that, and that does seem like an excessively long time. So I can understand that you must be very frustrated. Since I'm still fairly new here, I'm not entirely sure what the process is to change your records. But I will talk to my colleagues.
This is the sort of response I get very frequently, and it's just frustrating. And I'm sure I know it's not your fault personally because you've just started, but how am I going to know that the information you pass on is just going to get lost in the ether like it has clearly done over the last few years?
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that you might think that. I have put it on my list, and I will do it as soon as possible. I'll contact my team, and I will find out the process, and you will hear from me within 2 days.
Okay, and if I haven't heard from you, can I contact you again?
Yes, do feel free to contact me again if you haven't heard from me by then. And thank you very much for getting in touch and bringing this to our attention, and we'll try to sort it out for you as quickly as we can.
Okay, because I mean, if this hasn't been resolved in 2 days, I will have to take this further because it's just not good enough.
Yes, of course we understand that, but yes, please don't worry, we will sort it out for you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you.
Okay, that was really good. That was great. And I think, Simon, did you feel as though you were being heard and that Hannah would have got back in touch with you?
Well, I was actually thinking I must have been getting into character because I was actually feeling quite angry even. No, yeah.